Developing tonight, a radical new bill is about to be signed by the governor of Oregon that would enforce insurers and taxpayers to fund free abortions for virtually any reason at any time, including sex-selective and late-term abortions. Critics have called this grisly and appalling. Trace Gallagher sets up this story for us live from our West Coast newsroom. Hi, Trace.
Hi, Martha. There is still no date set for the signing of Oregon House Bill 3391, but any question about where Governor Kate Brown stands on this was pretty much answered when she tweeted, quoting, "Yes, yes, yes," and then shared a link to an article titled, "Oregon Legislature Approves Reproductive Services Bill Covering Abortions, Contraceptives." The governor followed with this statement, quote, "Attempts to deny access to contraceptives and family planning are an attack on all Oregonians, particularly women of color, low income, and young women." What this means is that insurance companies in Oregon will now be required to cover abortion at zero cost to patients, and companies that cover abortions for illegal immigrants will be reimbursed by the state. Religious employers and insurers that currently do not cover abortion are exempt, but any women who fall into those categories would also have their abortions covered by the state. Planned Parenthood, which is struggling financially and has recently shut down 4 clinics in Oregon, helped draft this bill and then lobbied to pass it. Some GOP state lawmakers say the law is a gift card to Planned Parenthood and that state taxes should not go towards something that many Oregonians are morally opposed to. Listen to both sides.
It's important to have abortion as an option so that women have a chance to really choose when their pregnancies happen, and that every baby is a planned and wanted baby.
We're totally against it because of the abortion component of it. Abortion is taking away the innocent, an innocent human life, and this bill will inevitably increase abortion.
Oregon Democratic lawmakers say this bill will protect reproductive rights regardless of what happens on the federal level, referring, of course, to the Trump administration and congressional Republicans pushing to defund Planned Parenthood. Martha.
Trace, thank you. Here with more, Lila Rose, founder and president of Live Action, and Danielle McLaughlin, author and political commentator. Welcome to both of you.
Thanks.
Danielle, let me start with you. I mean, on the face of it, the need to allow late-term, even full-term abortions for, an illegal immigrant. I mean, this is the most extreme example.
Sure.
Who could just arrive in Oregon and say, this is what I'd like to have done, and the taxpayer needs to pay for it, seems very extreme. No?
Sure, it does. When you use that example, when you use the example of a low-income woman who's working 3 jobs, who's had 3 children that she doesn't want to otherwise have, this bill doesn't just allow for funding for abortion. It's contraceptive care, it's preventive care, it's pre-cancer screenings, it's a whole host, frankly, of health care for women, and actually that Obamacare currently covers, that a state like Oregon, Maryland also is concerned it will go away if the GOP changes healthcare protections in this country.
I think it's horrific because women deserve better than abortion. And this Oregon bill is basically saying women, undocumented immigrants, whomever, abortion's a solution for your problems. Killing children up through the 9th month of pregnancy for any reason is a positive thing. So positive, we're going to force insurance companies. We're going to force individuals to buy those plans. We're going to force taxpayers in Oregon to pay for it. And there are estimates being done that this could increase abortions. This could kill 3,000 more children a year in Oregon. So there are actually lives at stake here, innocent lives, preborn children.
Oregon is one of the states in this country that has almost no abortion law at the state level.
They're extreme.
Well, you say that. Of course, Oregon is governed by Roe versus Wade, by Planned Parenthood versus Casey, by any other Supreme Court law that has been passed down.
Do you think it's okay for someone to decide because they don't like the sex of their baby to abort it at 8 months?
No, absolutely.
So why would any state want to pass a law that would allow that? It's barbaric.
It's up to the state to do that. I personally think it's horrendous. I'm totally with you, Lila. But if you can't legislate against that, if that's what the state wants to do. The last thing I'll say is Oregon has almost no abortion law at all. It has a lower abortion rate than the rest of the country. So you can say, oh, well, more access to abortion means more abortions. That's not the case with Oregon.
But they tend to, in 1994, they passed the first physician-assisted suicide. And then you have 5 more states that ended up allowing that as well. You know, you have to, as a country, I think, face the questions of what you feel falls into the lines of ethics and falls into the lines of what is acceptable, or you know, I think it's just,
this is another defining moment for our country. And you even said it, Danielle. You said, look, I don't like it either. Sex selection, abortion.
So why would you want it to be part of, why would you be okay with it being part of this bill?
I'm just saying that if this is what a person chooses, there are plenty of things that I don't like that are allowed here.
But it shouldn't be allowed. And I think
we think about gun deaths in this country. We think about other sorts of things where we have a real moral quandary.
We have to.
Oregon as a state has made a decision to make this access available to low-income women who might otherwise not have this access.
Why are
I'm not saying get elective
do you find it offensive that sentence, I think is potentially very offensive, about how we need this especially for women of color and low-income women and young women? I think to myself, well, you know,
this is about access.
It's the opposite of the dignity of a woman to say, kill your child in order to get ahead in life, in order to deal with your problems. What's going to happen to that woman, whether she's low income, she's young, she's just going to be then the mother of a child who's dead and have the same problems in her life and the same challenges.
I think what you're ignoring.
Problems. This bill adds problems. And this is a larger debate going on in our country right now. We have a law, Roe v. Wade, that was passed that ultimately the rule of the land that even experts on the pro-abortion side have said is bad law. It says it shouldn't actually be the rule of the land. And so you have states doing extreme things like this because we got it wrong at the Supreme Court. And that's where the Americans are so divided on this, because they know deep down that's a child, that's a life, and that this is wrong.
Danielle, last word, and then we got to go.
This is about more than abortion, and I think we need to think about it in a global sense. This is about access to healthcare, whether you earn $100,000 a year or whether you earn $1,000 a month. So it's not just about abortion.
But it does include these elements that
yes, it does. But there are plenty of these kinds of things that have really terrible and very trying elements, and other very important elements that mean that women can make economic decisions that are ultimately healthcare decisions.
Send the bill back. Take out abortion.